Just Seen It is made possible by Adobe and the Adobe Creative Cloud, including Adobe Premiere Pro, Photoshop, and After Effects. More information is available at bit.ly/AdobePTV. It's the original 1978 version of Dawn of the Dead versus the 2004 remake in this next edition of Remakes, Reboots, and DejaVu.
Hi, I'm Brenna, here with Salim, and welcome to another edition of Remakes, Reboots, and DejaVu.
And we're here to talk about originals and remakes as we look at George Romero's Dawn of the Dead versus Zack Snyder's 2004 remake, Dawn of the Dead.
We each have 30 seconds to make our points and 30 seconds to rebut.
I'm taking on the original.
It's a big place, but they're pretty spread out down there. I think we can outrun them.
Hit and run?
Hit and run.
And I'll be defending the remake.
Get as much ammo as you can. You got a plan?
You?
How about a barbecue?
Salim, how about you start us off?
I'm actually a huge fan of zombie movies, specifically starting with this film, George Romero's Dawn of the Dead. And what I love about this film, which seems to have been abandoned in more recent zombie movies, is the clear political message, not only about consumerism, but also about race. The fact that zombies are more or less a surrogate for mindless Americans who are obsessed with consumerism, how in this new world with zombies, we have a new leader who would more or less be rebuked in the previous world.
The remake is a fantastic film on so many levels. It updates the mythos for the modern age. It focuses on individuality as opposed to consumerism and the herd mentality, which is a much more relevant form of cultural consciousness for the new century. The characters are far more complex. The line between good and evil is blurred. It's not as transparent as the guys in the mall and the biker gang. It's much more faster paced. It's much scarier, updates it for our world, and it manages to honor the original while still managing to tell its own story, to maintain its autonomy.
I feel like this movie is the quintessential example of how we go from a more grounded story to more spectacle. And I feel like Zack Snyder, that's what we know him for nowadays. Whereas I feel like the Dawn of the Dead, the Romero Dawn of the Dead, it was really about the characters. It was really about getting in depth with these people that are going through this crazy tragedy that nobody's ever seen before. And I think that George Romero did a fantastic job about bringing in these characters, having a clear message, but also teaching us something about this new genre.
And many things about the original don't age well, particularly the practical effects. The zombies are laughable. It's not really scary. And the message, the social commentary of the original is not really relevant. Now, as a culture, we are obsessed with individuality. And by having more characters, more complex characters who are each their own person, who we know and identify each one with something unique about them, it's much more accurate for our time period and still manages to have social commentary. And this movie is scarier.
No, you're done.
Okay.
You're done. So who do you think won? Tweet us, Facebook us, leave us a comment.
My movie has 2 black leads.
Yeah, they're not actually the leads, though.
They're pretty important.
Sarah Polley and the other guy, Phil Dunphy, and other people.
My female lead is also more capable than yours.
This is true. This is very true.
It's just a more realistic film on top of that. But I do have to admit that Dawn of the Dead is a far better film than Dawn of the Dead.
Honestly, if I'm going to be thinking about it, Dawn of the Dead is actually a superior film to Dawn of the Dead.
But Dawn of the Dead did so many things better than Dawn of the Dead.
But you forget that Dawn of the Dead did something that Dawn of the Dead didn't do. And we're here to talk originals and remakes as we look at George Romero's
AJA Video Systems, proud supporter of Just Seen It, offers a wide range of professional acquisition and post-production solutions. Learn more at aja.com/PTV.